That's how this will work.
All right, sweet. It's here. We're doing it live. Everyone, share this with everyone you know. This is an important stream. I drove 4 hours to get these two guys together today.
Well, I think Net had the worst of it because, I mean, how many days were you on a bus?
I believe it's 4 now.
Yeah, and you haven't slept at all, have you?
Your mind is just gone.
It's weird because everybody thinks I'm some crackhead when no, I'm just unhinged. Always have been.
Oh, so how's everyone doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It feels good to be here, man. Up in this part of the state. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice out here. I mean, besides the muggy weather.
It's always muggy in Ohio.
Yeah, true. Ohio is sort of like the Britain of the United States.
It is. Fucking, we get that, what's that called? Lake effect.
Yeah, the lake effect.
We get that lake effect. Always.
Yeah, the consequences of being city folk.
The Falcone General says, hey, Net.
Oh, hi, little sister. How are you?
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
And Arnaldo, I need my prescriptions.
Oh, that dude is cool. That dude's solid.
But he says, based.
Oh, yeah, you know it. No, I'm happy you guys are here. I'm happy we're all together. Like,
We owe a shout out to somebody.
We do. Sean Garrett, if you're watching this, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to learn of your story. I'm sorry the experiences that you had to go through in the Gulf War. But I look forward to talking to you soon on a stream. By the way, Sean Garrett, Ned met a very interesting stranger on the bus. He fought in the Gulf War, told me some things that happened there. He told me the veterans experience and what veterans truly go through, not that hoity-toity shit you see on the media like CNN and Fox News about how respect the veterans every day. He told us about how it really was.
And he's an official, doesn't completely agree, but he's now a sympathizer of Antifa. And largely what did it is, one thing that we have said forever is that we're not trying to overthrow the government. We're putting the Constitution into question, and we will only jump when the state truly starts collapsing.
Oh, I mean, the Constitution does need to be put in question. The 13th Amendment, which freed the slaves, also still legally in this country, slavery is still legal, and it's in the first section of the 13th Amendment. As a form of punishment, slavery is legal.
I think there's some confusion because it's obvious that I align with the black nationalists against the concept of America, but I have a different way of looking at what is America, and that's always my question: is what is America?
To me, it's not just the United States. To me, it's a geographical region of what is the United States and Canada.
What a question! What a question! What is America? To me, it's just a bunch of small and tiny nation states cobbled together into one big settler colonial project. But what is America to you guys?
We'll start with Tim, and then I'll explain what I think.
Go for it.
I don't want to talk about what America is now. I want to talk about what America can be and must be. I base my theory of New America on intercommunalism, that there shouldn't be any one nation. Granted, I am willing to gain some leeway to the Native Americans. But when you hear Bobby Seale talk about, in fact, he did a live interview on a talk show way back in the day, but he said that, intercommunalism is not the belief in nations, it's the belief in countries and bringing communities together. So what I want to do is I want to form a country, not a nation, or not separate nations. I want to form a country that brings communities together. And these communities can still have, their own cultural identities. They don't have to be assimilated in. The natives can still have their identities. African Americans still have their identities. European Americans can still have their identities, But in all, we're all smaller communities making up one big community through revolutionary intercommunalism.
And that's a path of decolonization.
Yes.
My thing is because, and I think there's been some, I really appreciate what Jason was trying to do about explaining back to Europe and revolutionary communalism, but I think that was so compact that he didn't explain it at all, in all honesty. Because he mentions how we have to do the back to Europe movement, but he didn't explain what that means. People think, it means expel, but that's...
Yeah, I think you should, I agree with the back to Europe movement from what I've heard, but maybe you could shed some more light on it.
Okay, it doesn't mean everybody has to leave the continent. That's
like you hear a bunch of radical liberals say.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to bring up what the three arrows theory started by the pink purple girl also.
Please do.
Okay, so I'll start with that. The three arrows was appropriated from the enemy of Antifa, known as the Iron Front, but it was also used by the Boon. So in our collaboration, that's the Boon, it's our collaboration with the really radical anarchists, the ones that hang out with Maoists. She came up with the three arrows mean against colonialism, against fascism, and against radical liberalism. Now, I know that we have this disagreement, but I need to explain why radical liberalism is a far-right ideology.
Go, please.
Okay, so they both will say, no, that's not true. But there tends to be like a closet.
Hang on, if you mind. We'll be taking questions later towards the end of the stream. I see people asking questions. That'll be later.
Oh, Chula's here.
Well, anyways, we'll be taking questions later at the end of the stream. But Ned, can you please continue with what you're saying?
Okay, where was I before? Because my thoughts go everywhere.
You were talking about why radical liberalism was a right-wing ideology.
Oh, right.
Okay, yeah, it's a far-right ideology. You have to understand that it doesn't mean all liberals. It means the radical liberals, which just like the alt-right is actually here to stay. You see, if you pay attention to the parallels, let's say between, people are going to go nuts with this, but the actual parallels between, like, say, Richard Spencer and Bosch, which are very much there. It's like they're inverted versions of the same thing.
It's a mirror image.
Yes.
One side looks different, but in the end, they're both following the same motion.
Yeah.
The left and right side of the same face.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
the left and right side of a mirror both does the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, functionally. Could you outline some of those parallels that you see between someone like a Spencer and a Bosch?
They're both closeted on. It's not always pedophilia, because everybody just likes to slap that. And although a lot of times that's true, that's not always the case. It's like wife beating, just really bad behavior. But you'll see that what's funny about the rad libs is it's almost as if they're pushing pedophilia, legalizing. That's kind of sick. You see that with Bosch and stuff. But with Spencer, it's more about fantasies about a Euro ethno-state, even though Europeans, we have a Europe already. So
yeah,
what the heck?
Just go back to fucking Europe, man.
Yeah, really.
That's
Just
it.
go to Europe, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and a lot of us do want to go back to Europe, but it's like this. It's not to expel Europeans. It's to give breathing room for not just Black people and Indigenous people, but for the actual Americans. I'm going to have to explain what I mean by that. But like, for instance, you're actually a country boy. And I know you don't like to say that, but that's something you're going to have to embrace, because that doesn't mean stupid or anything. That means, yeah. Why do you do that?
See, I'm a country. I am a fucking country boy, and you should see my fucking truck, man. Nice old F-150.
River folk.
oh, yeah.
See, and that's what an American is. Americans are not, but you do have to get rid of the whiteness thing, because the whiteness is the start of the racializing of the class section. See, as long as it's racialized, nobody's going to talk about class consciousness or get into breaking down class division, because it confuses people. You get back into the Panthers, they were actually trying to dissolve the race problem so that people wouldn't be distracted anymore.
Yeah.
Because the race thing is a distraction. It keeps you away from looking at the actual class problem. You know, and with the United States, we have a racialized class division on purpose, because, you know, everybody's looking at color all the time. And, you know, you see a lot of people say, well, everybody's being revisionist about what they were talking. No, it's that, if we're going to be honest, we're just rediscovering what the real struggle in the United States was in the first place. And I'm slightly getting off track. So on Americans, America means different things to different people. It's not that I'm anti-American, it's that I'm anti-Americanist, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
America there's different
You're
sorts.
against American exceptionalism and the things that you see on like Fox News and
Yeah,
CNN.
but also Americanism. There is an actual ideology of Americanism, but it's not really spoken about because it's meant to be confusing. Like, for instance, the word Americanist refers to language, but Americanism is a nebulous term. But when you get into the ideological stuff, it's basically this fiction that that the Pilgrims all the way
Hey, sorry about that.
Can you guys hear us?
Where did
Yeah,
we
they
leave
can
off?
hear us now.
Maxwell Glover's here.
Yeah, let's quit Spike. Let's quit Skype. Hold on. Bluetooth devices.
Here,
I'm
I
gonna
got this.
disconnect from Discord.
Where did we leave off, guys?
Well, what happened? You were talking, and then someone called us, and yeah, no, nobody call us right now. We're in the middle of a live stream, and it'll disconnect our mic and our camera, and send it to communicate
The other app.
through the other app. Yeah, so please don't call us. We're in the middle of something right now.
Yeah, we got to make this before Shabbos because I am, after all, an Orthodox Jew.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, I mean, you could take the example with the Russian Empire. You have a nation that was an empire. It was a vast, expansive empire that conquered new territory for centuries, but then it became something totally new and better. It became like a union of, Soviet socialist republics. And when I see America, I see another vast, expanse empire that could outgrow its outer shell and become, rather than a force for regression in the world, it could actually become a force of progress. And this is what I have to say to patriotic Americans. You want America to be number one again. The key isn't to go backwards to some idealized time in the past where things were supposedly better. The key is to go forward and progress forward towards socialism, because I'm convinced only through having a socialist planned economy can America truly become number one again and truly become the force for good that it loves to advertise itself as.
Yes.
Did I explain the three arrows thing?
Can I put on some audio real quick? This is Bobby Seale on a late night talk show. In fact, he's talking to John Lennon and Yoko Ono about intercommunalism.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I want to put this up real quick.
Then I should explain that stuff out.
Yeah. This is from, I think it's from Al Jazeera originally, if you want to look it up. Yeah, this is from the Mike Douglas show.
SMG, what's up, bro?
Here, let me skip ahead a little bit to where Bobby's actually talking.
Hope you guys hear better.
So essentially, I'm on the same vein of what Bobby Seale was talking about there, is that I don't believe in nations. I don't believe in nationalism unless it's like an actual majority of Vietnam, or no, that'd be a bad example, but like Irish, left-wing nationalism there, because Irish. Because the thing is, that is the community, is the Irish. So their nation nationalism. But also, in my view, is that nations are going the way of the dodo. With globalization, and especially the wars creating more of a refugee crisis around the world, we're seeing less and less of, Germans, or less and less of Greeks. We're starting to see a whole new breed and whole new cultures come out of this. We're starting to see less of nations and more of countries. And another thing that Bobby Seale said is, I don't believe in nations because that leads to nationalism, which leads to a sense of superiority, which also is akin to racism.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have a serious problem with the way Marxists describe nation. Because no offense, tough love, you guys have got this a little screwed up. That's from Hegel. See, a nation, by definition, is a gathering of peoplehood, which is either through culture and religion or culture and ethnicity. And when you think of ethnicity, there's no such thing as race. You have to think of family kindreds. And that's why I'd say there is a black nation. And we got to stop acting like we can tell them, oh, no, you can't just have New Africa. Maybe New Africa is reactionary, maybe it isn't. But if we know our place, it's not fair to say that they can't do that. That's not fair.
I see New Africa more as a diaspora rather than a grassroots type.
That's what Black Nation thinks. And to believe that all the black people have the same view about it is not true. What they all do have correct is that they are the primary antagonism in the first world, and they know it. We've got to stop watering down what they're talking about. We have to let them this is where Jason was really most correct. When you talk about New Africa, that is a conversation between, and now obviously I align more with Jason, because the third world is, and that Denmark's point of view are align on certain levels. But that's a conversation between Black people and indigenous people. The rest of us, I do believe, really should back off that. Now, my idea of New America is not to have it the way that you have it, but next to New Africa, you have New America, and let the natives have the sovereignty back. With Back to Europe movement, all of the Europeans that want to leave not only create breeding space for Black people and natives, but folks like yourself, because you are the dying Americans. You were outshouted by the WASP community.
No, yeah. The white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yeah, and if you get into Black nationalists, what me and Jason and others have been trying to say is you'd find out that you align with them way more than you think you do. And my thing is just like, I agree with revolutionary intercommunalism, but I don't believe that it's a contradiction with New Africa. I think that when you get into these nuances, there's a more synthesized understanding. So for instance, nations are culture pluses. Culture's part of it, but it's a societal cultural grouping, which is that cultural grouping is either gathered together through religiosity, which is a matter of orientation, or through ethnicity. And again, ethnicity is not race. There really is no such thing as race. If you look at Black people, with all their disagreements within the left circle at least, because they're conscious enough about this, they'll have the disagreements, but there's still Black unity. There's no such thing as white unity for a reason, because there's no white nation. There's European groups and new nations that are formed from that, or cultures. Like I wouldn't say country boys or river folk or nations, I would say that they're cultures. And when you get into New America, that would be the multicultural part of the continent. So you'd have New Africa, you'd have the different separate native countries, but they wouldn't be it's not exactly balkanization or not balkanization. To me, a lot of that view that, it's either balkanization or it's not is very Hegelian. To me, the Hegelian dialect does mess with your ideology. You have to scrap Hegel.
Yeah. I'm very much not in favor of union balkanizing. I mean, I guess it could be done. I guess there are ways it could be done, but I don't know. When I think of the states becoming separate, I see,
or something similar to that.
I just see collapse more than anything else. I just see
Yugoslavia.
Well, what I see, I see Yugoslavia. I see a condition in America.
I still blame Gorbachev for that crap.
I see a condition in America that's so bad that in the 1990s look like the Roaring '20s by scale. It's just going to be a really bad situation because of the restructuring of the economy, the slicing of supply routes. I imagine there'd be rampant warlordism, banditry, and just people.
That's why I say, to me, the American that I want to see as a nationality, even though it's a country, but you have to.
Yeah, and that is, it's a country, because nations don't go away, states go away, they rise and fall.
But
nations only fade out when their aspirations die. So the reason why there is a Jewish diaspora nation, which has nothing to do with the apartheid Zionist state, is because it is united through a point of view about the world. We stand for something called Tikkun Olam, which basically means repair the world. But what it implies is that obviously humanity has not fixed its problems. And so one thing that as Jewish people we've often seen is that a lot of you Marxists and anarchists and different sort of people suffer with a semantics issue. For instance, Jason's definition of identity politics, for instance, is correct in the Marxian dialect. However, people are just rediscovering what that stuff is. And so for instance, you'll see a lot of Black nationalists say intersectionality, but if you go, I do tend to agree with Jason. If they're going to say they're Marxist, that isn't intersectionality. That is stuff like intercommunalism. That is stuff like national liberation struggles, different types of marginalized struggles. And here's one for you. The real trans struggle is not trans, it's lumpen. There is a struggle with mentally ill people, but that's also lumpen. And people keep reading Marx, but that has no relevance to this continent. It was actually the Panthers who actually described what the lumpen is, what constitutes it. We were talking about imperialism. As imperialism advances, what constitutes it will be different. And that's the same with class. What is the working class in the United States?
Well, as really just capitalism as a system advances, wealth just increasingly becomes consolidated. And what that does is it basically, because capitalism's a zero-sum game, as like we get more millionaires and billionaires, the rest of the general populace just becomes poorer and more deprived by scale. And what this does is, as a consequence in the first world, I think what we're seeing is the lines between the first and the third world workers are going to blur.
Actually, that's very interesting because the MIT, right?
Yeah.
They just released a study showing that most of America is now basically a third world country, which that when I show you Ohio and take you around, you're going to see that. Because when I take you to Worcester and Mansfield, you're going to see like just slums.
See, I'm not going to be surprised by that, though, because I would say that it's not third world. I would say that you're talking about sacrifice zones.
Yeah.
And this is Ohio.
Yeah.
This is like the #1 sacrifice zone place.
Yeah,
It's like you go to Worcester, man, and like there's like there's probably like on like one block there's like 3 trap houses, but then you go 4 blocks down and it's completely middle class.
I would want to say one more thing about the concept of ID pool or intersectionality. In the Buddhist movement, we use that term, and it was Jason that said to me, he says, Net, stop it. You're not talking about identity politics. You're describing some sort of diasporic national liberation struggle. It's like you say, Pantherism, right? The Panthers would spit on ID pool. And although, because of things happened, that was never clarified in the Buddhist movement, I had to concede, it's like, you're right. We're not talking about identity politics at all. But people use that term so broadly that there's a semantics problem. So when we deal with certain people that say intersectionality, you have to clarify definitions.
If I might say, we're getting close to sundown.
Okay, yeah.
So if we want to start answering questions, go ahead, ask away.
Yeah. Here, I'll go ahead and read.
I want to hear what SFG is saying.
Nukason's in the chat.
Oh, sweet. So, do you want to just keep streaming? Like if you gotta exit out for
Yeah, you can go like lay down.
Yeah. Yeah.
How close is the sun?
You can't tell. It's always like this, man.
But Arizona's like a blazing place that you walked in. Everything is like you could get heat stroke over there, like just by breathing. I'm kind of exaggerating, but
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how winter is in Ohio. You can't tell if it's daylight or.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually light my Shabbos candles because you have to do that before the sun goes down.
Oh, you might want to go. You can do that in my bedroom if you want.
We need to reinstall the non-aggression pact. So I wasn't there for some weird stuff.
All right,
It's 4:30 p.m. Time to start wrapping up your workday and plan for dinner.
I'm already home, man.
That was weird.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that coming.
Don't do that again.
Let's go. So if you guys have any questions, we'll stream for a little while longer. Happy to see you together. The reason China is socialist. USA has 600, China has 420. 600 what? I'm so confused. What, poor people? I have no idea.
Without a proper.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
Yeah. Without the context of what the number's supposed to mean, that means nothing does.
Yeah, exactly. So
blessing of 1,000 billionaires upon you. Leftism today, right? So,
oh, hell yeah. Sweet. One thing that I was trying to really get into is really just the idea of just a new nation more than anything.
I wouldn't say nation because
a new
country.
Yeah, new country, new republic. We are in dire need of a new republic. In all honesty, our constitution's pretty out of date and it's not really the best constitution out there.
It's
We should also not be afraid of having conversations when there's differences.
Yes, what Net said.
Yeah.
I don't know if they heard that, but
Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, this mic will pick you up over there. At least it should.
Figured out your audio setup. Yeah, we got it figured out.
Just don't fucking call us.
Yeah. No one calls, please.
If you want to move the camera over so it's more. Just
Yeah.
There's not that negative space.
Let me bring you a little closer. All me, baby. No, I'm just kidding. Whoa.
The thing that I hate about sitting here, I'm going to tuck my shirt. It makes me look fat. There. I look less fat.
Oh yeah, no, man. I'm trying to lose
Well, you
weight
saw
right
me,
now.
man. You asked me if I've been working out, man.
Yeah, no,
when I'm standing up, when I sit down, my belly fat sags down. When I go up, my fucking chest is
Yeah, no. It looks like you've been hitting the gym, but I know you've just been doing SEAL work, right? You just work.
I don't want to say what my job is, but it's not civil work.
Well, it's manual labor.
Very.
Yeah. It shows, dude. You're brawnier than last time I saw you.
SMG John says Moppinism is not incorrect. It is in fact a science.
Moppinism is a cult, as evidenced by the fact that Moppin himself was willing to cut off all contact with me the same day that I made a video criticizing his socialist billionaires tirade. So
I mean, but the thing is I think Caleb is pretty cool. I just think he's a little misguided.
Nobody endorses a war with Caleb.
I don't. Yeah, no, exactly. I wanted to have a dialogue with him. I thought we could be friends, but I just don't understand the reason why he's got to stonewall me like that just because I criticized. I didn't even really criticize. I didn't even criticize him, to be honest. I just criticized his socialist billionaires take, and I didn't do that for clout because I lost 5 subscribers when I did that.
Only 5 subscribers.
Yeah, I mean.
Poor thing.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Canceled. No, but
just the 5 fucking people on Twitter.
Yeah, the 5 Moppinites. Dude, people were hitting me up on Discord. Like, there are a couple Moppin stands that were telling me, like, trying to clarify, like, oh, I was wrong. This is what Caleb meant. You gotta. And we had a back and forth, and
Did anything get achieved out of it, or were they just
Well, I mean, they wrote me a novel that got achieved.
I have a problem. There's no safe place for the candles.
What do you mean there's no safe place for the candles?
There's no clean, safe place. I mean, what am I going to do? Put it on top of your awesome book of Malcolm X? That's like blasphemy right there.
You can just move the books to the floor for right now.
Okay.
Is Jason Unruh definition of socialism accurate?
Yeah,
I would say so.
Dude, the dude's been doing this for 14 years. If he's not, I'd be surprised if he did not. If he wasn't correct.
No. Jason's old guard, dog. He knows his shit.
And by the way, Jason was always an anti-colonialist. Like, if you go back to his stuff, it's just that, I'm just going to say it, Reagan screwed him up. They messed him up. They screwed up a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And he lost connection with friends.
Oh, yeah. I'll let Jason speak of that if he wants to. But, I know he's not ready to come out about that.
Defend Jason Unruh and defend B-Level.
Yes. Oh, yeah, no, hold.
But, no, yeah. But the thing is that you're getting comfortable.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting comfy, bro. I'm going to be sleeping here later, so may as well.
Oh. Okay.
What?
Not getting the recliner?
Fuck that, I want the recliner.
Oh, okay.
Well, still, I'm getting comfy. Yeah, so, what else we got going on? Jason has celebrated a 12-year anniversary on YouTube.
Hallelujah.
We need a Comic-Con. I'm going to highlight this. Simmons, I'm glad you brought this up, but...
I'm a socialist, not a communist.
I don't care.
I need a lighter.
You're one of us.
Ned, here. I got a lighter somewhere on there. I think I got 3 of them.
It's just because I have very strong MLN leanings, that's all.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, this is actually an idea I've been batting around in my head, but why don't we get all the rice tube people? I'm sorry, I mean beer tube people. Oh wait, no, apparently that turns people off too.
Okay, somebody explain that,
Tanky
because
tube.
the truth is we
No.
do own a policy
No.
last no.
Wait,
no, we do.
Wait, no, please. I'm in the middle of something.
All right, fine.
Anyways, we do need to have a Comic-Con. I think this is an incredibly good idea. The financing it would be difficult because everyone would have to travel. I mean, we have money. I mean, I don't know what your guys' financial situation is looking like, but I would love to have a Comic-Con,
How big do you want it?
100 people or more, just to hang out.
What do you think, rent out a Holiday Inn or something?
Yeah, maybe a Holiday Inn or maybe go to a bar and just buy an evening at a bar or something. Or we wouldn't even need to do that. We could just go to a bar. I don't know how we would arrange it. Maybe just have a fire.
The first day land is the 14-year-olds. They can get Trilly Temples.
Fuck me with the terms.
That sounds very aggressive.
Yes. Tankies Unite RevTube. I like that one too. A Tanky Con would be cool. That would definitely be lit. So I don't know. Do you have anything on your mind? Anything you're interested in discussion?
The thing is what I hate about streaming instead of like, because the thing is that I don't write scripts,
Mhm.
but at the most I might write notes. But the thing is I hate about streaming is I always go back and I was like, fuck, I should have said that.
Yeah, no, that happens to me all the time. Like when I'm streaming, sometimes there's like a tirade that I'm going to include in the stream when I'm talking about it. And then I do the whole stream, forget what I was going to say. And then afterwards the stream's over and I'm like, God damn it, I forgot to mention that. That's why I just started taking notes. Like for the Moppin stream, like when I was talking about socialist billionaires, I just had like notes written. And then with the stream with that way I don't forget anything. But
Anukasen has a question. The only question I got, if things are going better, are things going for Comrade Net?
Ned,
Anukasen, I want to say to Anukasen that not only do I have no hard feelings, I have no hard feelings to, although the guy seriously has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to either me or Jason Under, I have no problems with Uncle Thomas. Uncle Thomas, to me, is a center-right person with left leanings. He is not the enemy. And I actually do respect some of his positions. And this war on the Glasnow gang was an accident.
I got one.
I'm against that whole thing. In fact, I'm very fond of No More Libs. I'm just going to say that.
But what's your take, Trav? What's your take on?
I love you, Nicholson. I want you to know that.
What's your take on what is it? Do you think that the revolution, if there is a revolution, hopefully there is, please, I hope there's a revolution, but that it'll either be led by the proletariat and the lumpen proletariat, or will be kind of like a co-opted thing?
it could. So here's the issue. The Democrats have a history of co-opting any sort of populist fervor that just emerges from the general masses, because everyone thinks like the Democratic Party is like the legitimate channel to get change done because they're the more left.
Right. I remember my
party.
history teacher was a Democrat. And she's like, "Yeah, that's the party for the working class." It's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, it's the party of co-opting working class rhetoric and reining all that fervor into the control of the hegemony of the DNC, and then neutralizing it or repackaging it so like it's just completely defanged and poses no threat to the status quo. The issue is that until people realize that the sovereign has failed them and they stop supporting the sovereign, then we're just gonna end up in the same situation year by year.
But I think it's kind of like Che Guevara said, you can't, sometimes history needs a push, and
Yeah.
that's where agitation comes into mind.
Well, no, like in all seriousness, like left-wingers in general need to make a grand exodus from the Democratic Party, because I really don't think entryism is the way forward.
No, it's not.
Like-
The thing is, like, Bernie's been stonewalled. AOC is really up the ass of Nancy Pelosi right now. It's like the progressive wing, like Ned said at one point. I remember we were on a conversation, like a phone call. Ned said, the progressive wing of the Democrats has been absolutely obliterated.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they've just been neutralized, and they're just basically controlled opposition. They're kept around so that there's like an outlet for left-wing populism.
And then it brings more people into the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Makes people vote for the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
Funnels
exactly.
it in. But the thing is like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next election cycle. What happens after the Biden presidency. Because the thing is that the progressive wing has really collapsed. And, Bernie's been defeated again, and he's probably, and I don't wish death upon Bernie. I just want to get that away before I say this, but he's probably going to be, dying soon. He's up there in years.
Yeah, and honestly, considering he completely put a knife in the back of his own constituency,
Oh yeah.
I really don't feel any sort of remorse for him.
I actually forgot about that when he was.
He did it both times, endorsing Hillary Clinton and dropping out and endorsing Joe Biden before the race was even over. And people are like, "Oh, he couldn't win," and I'm like, well, if he took some time to vote, point out the very blatant and obvious vote rigging that was going on both occasions. Electoral fraud is a well-documented fact. He could have pointed that out. He could have ran counter-propaganda campaigns. He could have actually challenged these politicians in the ways that they need to be challenged.
It almost makes you question, if you don't mind me interrupting you.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a conspiracy theory, which I don't really find fault in conspiracy theories as long as it's not, the Jewish reptilians control the world, that type of shit. Because, conspiracy theories do exist in politics, one politician's trying to get out of one politician, but you can't fully prove it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a dog whistle. But do you think Bernie Sanders, after all this time, might have just been a sheep herder?
Well, what I think with Bernie Sanders is I don't believe he was threatened. I think with Bernie, he genuinely does care. Like you can tell he cares, but he's a partisan. Like in an interview, what's his name? Chris Hedges, thank you. Chris Hedges talked about this in an interview, but why Bernie wouldn't do it, why he wouldn't really challenge the Democrats. And the reason being, he didn't want to be nadered. He didn't want to be turned into a political pariah and an outcast from the Democrats. Mm-hmm. The reason being is because Bernie cares more about his career and being friends with the DNC and just, maintaining his circles because he's good friends with the Bidens, Right. My good friend Joe Biden, like he really is good friends with Joe Biden, like in all seriousness. And he wants to maintain that. And apparently he cares more about that than his constituency. Apparently that matters more to him than the fact that tens of thousands of Americans die of preventable illnesses every year, and he didn't fight as hard as he could have, So at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but I like to apply Occam's razor and just think Bernie's a fucking partisan hack. So I don't think the way forward is through the Democrats. I mean, I have my own propositions as to what is to be done. I don't know, do you have any ideas, or are you just trying to read comments?
I'm trying to read comments. Thor Bradshaw writes, if you have a socialist slavery number, you are a socialist. Read the Communist Manifesto. What plank has not been achieved? The U.S. needs revolution to purge the commies. So he's an anti-communist.
Yeah, he's a troll. Honestly, I think I've seen him commenting before. I'll just ban you. Hold on.
No, don't ban him. Don't ban him.
Okay, fine.
Allow him to have his time.
Okay, you know what? Fine.
Allow him to have his time.
I won't. All right, fine. You have fun, buddy. But anyways, so strategies. I mean, obviously, joining an org is one.
The thing is, what the dirty secret about many communist parties in the United States is that many of them are MLM schemes. Because you look, the leadership's old as shit, and they're using this as their retirement fund. So, I think what it really comes down to when organizing is creating a new party, but also creating new unions underneath that party that immediately control what's left of the industrial means of production, but also, like the service sectors, like you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have an idea. All right, so I'm about to say something relatively unpopular, and I guess this depends on your definition of lumpen. But when I think of lumpen proletariat, I'm thinking of drug dealers, drug addicts, petty thieves, con men, criminals, serial rapists, car thieves, basically like the criminal undercurrents of bourgeois society, the most deprived of the deprived. People like this in general live life on edge and only have their next meal in mind. I don't really think that people with this kind of consciousness are really the ones to lead a revolutionary charge. It's like one cannot serve two masters. I mean, if you care about the revolution, you'll care about the revolution. But if all you care about is getting high, then that's going to contradict the discipline needed in order to be a revolutionary cadre. But if you're someone who's got a troubled past, if you're a drug addict, someone who has those lumpen roots, and you acknowledge that and you're class conscious, that's great because we can help you.
Raise yourself up.
Yeah, we can help you. We can lift you up and then turn you into a full-fledged cadre. But being lumpen and being revolutionary, it just, I see Marx's point is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying you can't recruit from there, but I think the true potential lies in the service economy with the service. Hey, we're back.
All right, looks like the audio's back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, hey, we're back. Sorry about that. So service workers, service economy, what were you saying?
Well, you're saying, like as soon as Amazon shuts down, the economy's going to shut down. Like, yeah, especially if like with me, maritime, if the Great Lakes were to shut down, iron ore could not get from, Wisconsin or Minnesota down to Ohio where the factories are. So, the iron ore ranges are up north and then the factories are down here. And the Midwest is kind of like a contained system in that sense. But as soon as like the merchant marine were to shut down, no cars, no steel no steel beams to build, new offices for the billionaires to, work in.
Exactly. And think of it like this. Like, I'm a package handler at FedEx. As a package handler, I mean, I don't care if people know that, but that's what I do. As a package handler, if you could organize like a plant-wide strike, and let's say people just stopped loading trailers, like just for a day, stop loading trailers for a day, that would bring the entire supply chain to a grinding halt, because now you don't have you have incoming trailers that have all this backlog because they've got all this backed up out inflow. You've got all this outflow that's not getting out. You've effectively cut the supply lines for all these deliveries just by doing that. And I mean, if you did this at a big hub, like, you could make the company feel the pain. But if you could like organize something like this among like multiple hubs and like multiple warehouses,
Strategic location.
yeah, strategic spots, you could bring these companies to their knees like very easily.
And one thing I like the backpedal of it, what you talked about the lumping, I think I disagree with you on the lumping to a certain extent. Like, yeah, I have friends who are lumping. I'm not going to say names, but I have two main friends who are lumping, and the vast majority of the lumping I see, they do commit crime, but it's usually like a one-time thing because they need to get something. But yeah, there are lumping drug dealers, rapists, and stuff. But I think it's unfair to criminalize the entire lumping for a few bad lumping, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it largely depends. I mean, no one's innocent. There are so many laws on the books that everyone's technically a criminal. Like, if you've ever gone over the speed limit.
In the state of, I believe it's here in the state of Ohio that the only day you're allowed to beat your wife is on Sunday, and it has to be right in front of the courthouse steps.
Yeah, like you can't walk your elephants down the road on a Wednesday. You can't wear colors that clash at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah, like those kind of laws.
Like in Youngstown, Ohio, right here in the state of Ohio, which is near Pittsburgh. It's illegal for you to run out of gas.
That's so weird. How do you even enforce something like that?
You don't. It's just. It's probably just some like I don't know how to describe it. It's shit.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I think we've had a good talk. It's almost been an hour.
Yeah. We can close it. There's not really much else I have to say, but I do have kind of a thesis. I think the potential really lies with the service worker now, like the Walmart workers, the warehouse workers, the McDonald's burger flippers. I think this is where the potential lies in the first world.
All right.
That's kind of like my closing thought. You guys have anything else for us? Talk about socialism with American characteristics. I have nothing to say on that.
Nothing to say. I think Jason said it very well.
Yeah, Jason said what he needed to. Jimmy Dore is based. Hell yes. Love you guys. It's been a lot of fun. See y'all later. I've got a couple new videos coming out. Were we going to work on something scripted tonight? Or
If you wanted to, we could do something.
I mean, we could collab. We could do something later. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
My place? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Please.